If you don't know the difference of belts in jiu-jitsu, they start white and then they go blue and then they go purple, then they go brown, then they go black. And I got the extremes here. I've got white and I've got black. My coach asked me, what's the hardest belt to get? And the obvious answer is black. And he said, no, the hardest belt to get is white because most people never start. You gotta start. Then he asked me, what is a black belt? And I said, somebody you run from. Which is true, believe me. A brown belt, a purple belt, a good blue belt, run, I promise you. What's a black belt? He said, it's a white belt that never stops training.
Welcome everyone to episode number 164 of this week's State of Fitness. Today is, Today is March 22nd, 2023. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I'm David Greenwalt. I'm the founder of Leanness Lifestyle University at LLU. That's how we abbreviate that long name. We help people from every walk of life to live their best lives and with the fitness they desire. And we do it with a combination of decades of evidence and experience-based strategies. So for first-timers, each Wednesday on these States of Fitness, I discuss anything weight management, health, or fitness-oriented that's top of mind for the week. This State of Fitness is my 164th in a row since February 5th, 2020. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel and you like what you see, please like and subscribe so we can keep you in the loop. So let's start off though, as we usually do, by looking at some top students this past week who are members with us. Give me 1 second here. Okay. This list is students who have averaged at least 100 points on campus, 100 points per day. The maximum points someone can earn on campus is 149 points. We know what behaviors need to be scored. We know how to score it. And these behaviors associate very, very well to offline behaviors, which of course is where all the action is and where all the success is really done. But we learn online and then we record what we're doing. It takes a few minutes for people to log what they're doing and they can be scored accordingly. So every student here has averaged at least 100 points and the students in green have averaged a perfect 149 point average per day. Congratulations to all the students who have made the list this week. Next up, pounds lost in the last 6 weeks. The students on this list have lost at least 8 pounds in the last 6 weeks. Way to go. And the top 5 students this week for this week are Renee at 12.3, Paulette at 12.6, Aaron at 14.2, Deb at 14.8, and Matthew at 20.2 pounds gone. Way to go, everybody. For percent of weight loss this week, or in the past 6 weeks, every student here has lost at least 4% of their weight as of 6 weeks ago. And the top 5 students this week are Nikki at 6%, Cindy at 6.9, and Deb at 6.9, Aaron at 7.5, and Renee at 7.6% of her weight lost as of 6 weeks ago. Outstanding work, everybody. For the top maintainers list, this is the list that everybody wants to be on. This is the list that represents the students who have achieved their lifetime goal and they have maintained their lifetime goal within 10 pounds for the number of days you see in the days column. They've kept off the amount of weight you see in the weight loss column. Students have kept off anywhere from a few pounds all the way up to 150 pounds for more than 1,000 days. So the students in green have kept their weight off for at least a year, and they are what we call master's candidates, which means they are on their way to 2 consecutive years of holding their weight. Once you've hit two consecutive years, those are the students in the orange. They have maintained their weight for 2 consecutive years. They've already earned their master's and they are now PhD candidates. And then the students in blue have earned their PhD because they have maintained their weight for at least 4 consecutive years. So these students exemplify the lose it one more time for the last time. There isn't anybody here, unless you're making weight for a competition of some kind, who wants to lose it and regain it. These students are active. They are currently enrolled. And they represent everything that we are about at Leanness Lifestyle University, which is losing the weight one more time for the last time, improving fitness all throughout. Okay? All right, let's see here. Okay, so this week I want to discuss an important element of emotional fitness. I think the last maybe 3 weeks we talked about exercise. This week we're going to emotional fitness. Really important element of emotional fitness. I really haven't spent too much time on this subject that I'm about to talk about. And the subject is social connection. And social connection is a big element, a big part of emotional fitness. Before I even get into it, remember all throughout the pandemic, the language was social distancing. I just cringed when that came out, in 2020. I always thought it was really crazy. Honestly, if I'm just going to use the language I would use, I thought it was idiotic. I couldn't, I guess why not? We did so many things wrong. I'm glad we did, certain things, but we did certain things, a lot of things wrong. One of the things was calling it social distancing. When what we needed was maybe physical distancing, but we always needed social connection. So tonight, I think as I go through this topic with you of social connection, you're going to see why I think the way I do still, thought the way I did with regard to the language, physical distancing versus social connection, and why it's such an important element and part of emotional fitness. Okay, but first, I'm going to take you through a real quick refresher on emotional fitness, kind of what it is and why it's one of the 6 pillars of forever weight management. So just as a refresher, the 6 pillars of forever weight management are nutrition, activity, why power, triggers, emotional fitness, there it is, and engaging support. So social connection, big element of emotional fitness. Emotional fitness, one of the 6 pillars of forever weight management. So what is emotional fitness? Emotional fitness is about feeling authentically good more often with emotional resilience, self-awareness, and self-regulation. So when I say feeling authentically good more often, what I mean is I contrast that with feeling regretfully good. We may feel regretfully good when we maybe indulge in junk food that's 1,000 calories. We may feel good for about 10 seconds and then we regret it later. We may feel regretfully good if we go and spend $500 we really don't have in retail therapy, and then we get the credit card bill and we've got to pay for it and we regret it. So that's regretfully good. Feeling authentically good is when we're doing things that honor our bigger visions, that honor our highest selves, and we just feel good, not doped up good, not caffeinated up good, not drugged up good, not dopamine hit good from doing things that we regret later, but authentically good. We feel authentically good more often, okay? When we're emotionally fit, we're better able to handle whatever life throws at us on any given day. In moments of stress, we're able to make better decisions. So for weight management purposes, maybe the best way I can describe emotional fitness is that once you know the right foods to eat, the right combinations and the right portions, an emotionally fit lifestyle allows you to make good choices more often, even when you've had that long, hard, stressful day. Once you know the right cardio and strength training program that will be best for you, it's developing and then flexing your emotionally fit muscles that will get you to your workout even when it's the last thing you feel like doing. Becoming more emotionally fit is what makes actually doing the nutrition and exercise work easier, consistent, and sustained. 8, 9, 10 out of 10 times, somewhere in there, when the nutrition and exercise bus goes off in the ditch, it's going to be something emotionally fit related, something emotional fitness related. It could be related to triggers as well. It could be related to the why as well. But somewhere in that 8, 9, times out of 10, it's going to be something emotional fit. So the stronger we are emotionally, the more emotionally fit we are, the better the nutrition and exercise components are going to be, the more consistent they are going to be. Be there, no mistake. A successful body transformation is an inside-out job. Strengthening emotional fitness is the inside work. A famous Viktor Frankl quote, which I have shared with everyone here at least 100 times, but it's always worth sharing, is this: between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. When we have an adequate level of emotional fitness and whatever anxiety producing stimulus hits us, and we are able to bring the temperature down a bit and we avoid catastrophic thinking, we break free from conditioned automated responses. What are conditioned automated responses? These are patterns of behavior that almost light switch instantaneous hit. A stressful stimulus presents, and then just like that, we turn to junk food or alcohol or some other unhealthy response in an effort to escape or soothe or get some immediate relief or just change our state of mind. When we have an adequate level of emotional fitness, we're better able to pause after the stressful stimulus, recognize that there is a space for choice after the stimulus, and then choose the better response. When we're not emotionally fit, the stimulus hits, instantaneous, conditioned automated response. We do what we've always done. We look for relief. We look for escape. We look for a way to change our state of feeling, our state of mind. It's what we've always done. We get amnesia that it's very short-lived. We get into a state where we may feel if our emotional fitness isn't as strong as it can be. We feel like we can't handle it. We're not going to make it. We're not going to survive unless we eat something, drink something, do something that isn't going to be positive for our health and fitness. So back here, this is not an exhaustive list I'm going to share with you, but from my 30 years of studying it and working with real people every day, these are the primary contributors to emotional fitness. Focus on what you want, not on what you fear or don't want. Gratitude, control, connection. We're talking about that tonight. Compassion, self-compassion too. Compassion for others, compassion for yourself. Eating 90% real food. Believe it or not, eating real food is a huge mental hack. It's a huge mental strategy. It's such a positive or negative, but if you're eating real food, it's such a positive step for emotional fitness. What we eat can have a massive impact on how we feel and how emotionally stable we are and our mindset, mood, you name it. Exercise, huge for emotional fitness. I always say exercise for the calories is fine, but exercising for the mental health and the fitness is where it's at. It is huge for emotional fitness. Sleep. Listen, you can do everything else right, but if you're not sleeping, if you're not getting at least 7 hours a night, most nights of the week, all bets are off. Got to do it. Got to get your sleep. Got to get practice good sleep hygiene. Mindfulness meditation. Okay? Won't get into all that. It's a part of emotional fitness. Faith. You don't have to be religious, but you can still have faith. Having some fun once in a while. That's a part of emotional fitness. Relaxation is a part of emotional fitness. Laughter is a part of emotional fitness. Getting some sun. Trying to get some early morning sun if you can. I know a lot of people in the climates, even where I am here in Illinois, we can't always do it. But as you can, getting some real sun each day can be a part of emotional fitness. Forgiveness can be a part of emotional fitness. All of these things are pretty major. These are kind of the major ones when it comes to emotional fitness. I think probably, gosh, I don't even want to say. I mean, there's so many that I don't want to say, for sure this one's more important than this one or whatever. They're all important. It just depends on what you need, when you need it, and what's going on. Ideally, we want to get to the point where we are what I refer to as emotional ninjas, emotional fitness ninjas, in that we pull out a tool from this list as we need it, when we need it. We have the knowledge, we have the base in these areas enough, and we engage in them enough where we can pull them out as we need it. So it's an educational process. It's a step-by-step process. It's not something where we can snap our fingers and say, you immediately, if you haven't been someone who's been taught what gratitude is, how to practice it, how to, really embrace it, how to engage in it with proactive gratitude, that kind of thing. If you haven't been taught that, then it's pretty tough to engage it. It's pretty tough to get your mindset more so in that space. But the more you learn about it, and we teach this, the more you learn about these things, the more you're able to pull them out as needed so that you can have that space between the stimulus and the response, and you can choose your response. When you awaken each day refreshed with a clear, sharp mind, good mood, and the energy you need to better serve you and everyone depending on you, not only does the nutrition and exercise work become easier, consistent, and sustained, but you're happier and you're more satisfied with life. All right? So it's time to talk about how social connection can impact emotional fitness, health, longevity, and life satisfaction. So let's first look at how social connections impact lifespan, which is how long we live. Social connections can have a significant impact on lifespan. A 2010 study conducted by Harvard researchers titled Social Relationships and Mortality Risk, a meta-analytic review, they found that individuals with strong social connections had a 50% increased likelihood of survival compared to those who were socially isolated. The study followed 309,000 individuals for 7.5 years across various age groups, genders, and health statuses. The researchers found that the effect of social connections on survival was comparable to that of other well-known health behaviors such as quitting smoking or increasing physical activity. Similarly, a study published in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health found that social connection was associated with an increased risk of mortality. Social isolation, not connection. Social isolation was associated with an increased risk of mortality among older adults. The study followed 6,500 older adults over a 7-year period and found that those who were socially isolated had a higher risk of mortality than those who maintained strong social connections. The researchers noted that the impact of social isolation on mortality was comparable to that of other well-known risk factors, such as smoking and alcohol consumption. So yes, social connection can positively impact lifespan if we have the right amount and type. And also, I just want to mention, I don't have it in my notes here, but if you look at areas that are called the blue zones are areas where they have an exponentially higher number of people that live to 100 than other areas of the world. In those areas, and in interviews that have been done with people that are over 100 years of age, a high percentage of them will talk about how in their way, in their amount, and their type, having strong social connections is a very, very positive factor for them. And it correlates well, of course, with them living such a long, fruitful life. Okay? What about the impact of social connection on life satisfaction? Well, social connections can also impact life satisfaction in positive ways or negative ways if you don't have enough, right? Research has consistently shown that individuals who have strong social ties tend to be happier and experience less stress than those who do not. And their perceived stress is comparable to that of other well-known stress-reducing behaviors. Here we go again, such as exercise and meditation. Additionally, social connections can provide a sense of purpose and meaning as individuals feel a sense of belonging and identity within their social groups. Research has shown that those with a strong sense of social identity are less likely to experience depression and anxiety. Huge factors for us in our modern age, right? So social connection is important for lifespan, which is how long we live, but also for life satisfaction. How about whether social connections can impact emotional fitness? As I said, it's a big factor of emotional fitness. So, we can already see that social connection, is going to impact emotional fitness, but what about direct impacts on emotional fitness? Well, social connection plays a crucial role in emotional fitness. It provides us opportunities for social support, emotional validation, and positive social interactions that can help us develop emotional skills and resources that can enhance our ability to manage and regulate our emotions effectively. It gives us better coping with stress and maintaining a positive sense of well-being. So in contrast, social isolation and loneliness have been linked to negative emotional outcomes, including depression, anxiety, and poor self-esteem, as I've said. So yes, social connection has a big impact on emotional fitness, and that's one of the 6 pillars of, again, permanent, forever weight management success. So having the right amount and type of social connection can positively impact our lifespan, life satisfaction, and emotional fitness. basically having good social connections helps us to live longer, healthier, and happier lives. But you know what? We don't all need the same types and amounts of social connection, right? I swear. Have you noticed this? If you watch any home improvement show, or these, couple, whatever, they're getting a home makeover done by professionals. It seems like the only people who make it onto the show are those who love to constantly be entertained. They want big entertainment areas, big this, big open for this, because they always have people over. There's always people coming and going. It seems there's barely a minute in the day where they aren't wanting to hang out in person with friends and family. Well, that's not how we're all wired. And we don't all need to be wired that way to have social connection and have life satisfaction, lifespan, and emotional fitness. Some people thrive in environments with large groups of friends and acquaintances, while others prefer only to have a few close relationships. Introverted individuals tend to prefer smaller, more intimate social interactions, while extroverted individuals tend to enjoy larger social gatherings and more frequent social gatherings. For me, I need social connection. I do, but I'm wired in such a way that I can more easily feel overwhelmed by having too much of it. I definitely need some in small doses pretty steadily, but not so much that I feel exhausted from it, which I have more of a tendency to have easily happen if I am getting too much of it. So I need some, I need small doses, I need it, but I have to be careful that I don't get too much of it, otherwise I feel exhausted. I also find that for me, and I'm saying these things about me because if you relate to this and you've maybe felt bad about you being more introverted or whatever, you're definitely not alone. All right, so I find that for me, that my time with Mary, my wife, talking to good friends and family by phone throughout the week, in addition to my online phone and video chats with you all, clients, it normally takes care of about 90% of the social connection that I need. Do I enjoy some in-person social connection and in-person with people types of things? Yes. But even quality phone time does me good most weeks. And fortunately, I'm so blessed I do get that almost every single week. And I know that I'm really blessed that way. And it's whatever floats your boat. Don't feel bad if you're not the type who loves to entertain constantly and socialize in person. And if you are the type that loves the high frequency interactions, then that's great too. Another factor that contributes to these kind of individual needs for social connection, some of these differences are cultural based. In some cultures, social connections are highly valued and even expected. And some people in cultures may even feel pressure to maintain frequent social interactions with family and friends. In other cultures, social connections may be less emphasized, and individuals may feel more comfortable with minimal social interaction. What's important to keep in mind is we each need what we need, okay? It's okay to need what you need. It's okay, whatever that is. If it's low, it's low. If it's middle, it's middle. If it's high, it's high. Whatever it is, it's okay. And it's really important, and I say this for kind of those of us that might be a little bit more on the lower end, and I know there's people that are much more on the lower end than I am. I'm not at the bottom. Some people are, as far as what they need. It's really important if you're on the lower end of need for social connection that you don't assume that isolation is just fine. 99.9% of the time, if you get to the isolation level for too long, at the extreme, there are going to be negative outcomes related to everything for lifespan, health span, life satisfaction, emotional fitness, quality of life. Okay? So, whether you're more of an introvert like me or you're more of an extrovert, what are some strategies, I'm going to share some with you, that we can use to get the right type and amount of social connection for all of the amazing benefits that social connection can provide. Here we go. The first one, find common interests. One of the best ways to connect with others is to find common interests. Whether it's joining a sports team or a book club, sharing interests with others can help break the ice and form connections. Volunteer. Volunteering for a cause you care about can be a great way to meet like-minded individuals while also giving back to your community. Attend social events. Even if you're not the most outgoing person, attending social events can help you meet new people and build connections. Look for events that align with your interests or hobbies, such as a concert or an art exhibit. Reconnect with old friends or family members. Hey, if it's been too long since you were the one to reach out and say, hey, how you doing? And especially if you've been feeling too alone, now's a great time to do this one. Take classes or workshops to learn a new skill and meet new people. These types of activities are cool because you're doing something. And it's not all about feeling, maybe more awkward, standing in a room with a drink in your hand, trying to figure out what to say. You're doing something. You're taking a class. So it's a way to kind of socialize, but it's mixed in with doing something. Practice active listening. People are more likely to open up and form connections with others who actively listen and show interest in what they have to say. Practice active listening by asking questions. If you're someone that says, no one ever talks to me, no one ever asks me questions, ask them questions. Be interested in what the other person may have going on in their life. Ask them questions. Paraphrase what you hear. Show genuine interest in the other person's experiences. Join online communities. Online communities like our Facebook group that we have for LOU, for example. It can be a great way for introverts and extroverts alike to connect with others who share their interests. Whether it's joining a Facebook group or participating in a subreddit, online communities can provide a sense of belonging and social connection. Take small steps. Building social connections takes time, and it's important to start small. Whether it's striking up a conversation with a stranger or attending a social event with a friend, taking small steps can help build confidence and improve social skills. Okay? So I want to conclude this lesson on social connection with something I found interesting from the 2 seasons of the TV series Alone that I've watched. So, what's Alone? What's the TV series Alone? Some of you have seen it. I know you have because it's been really popular. It's made it 9 seasons so far. I've seen 2. I don't think I'll watch more. I think I get it, and I think I've got it, but I enjoyed the 2 that I watched. And the premise is this. It follows 10 participants as they are dropped off in a remote wilderness location, and they've got to survive on their own with limited supplies. The contestants are completely isolated from each other, and I mean isolated. Like they can't get to each other. They can't, no matter where they are on an island or wherever they are, they cannot get to the other contestants. They are isolated. They have to rely solely on survival skills to last as long as possible in the wilderness. I believe it's the way it was in the first couple of episodes. They get to choose from 10 tools. There's maybe 30 or 40 tools total they can choose from. They get to pick 10, whatever 10, and that's it. They have to lug around like 70 pounds worth of camera gear. There are no camera people with them. They have to film themselves, and they have to rely on themselves and their 10 tools to survive in the wilderness. And they are alone. The deal is the last person remaining is declared the winner, and they receive $500,000. The thing is that none of the other participants know how many participants are left. So you could be 30 days in, 60 days in, 90 days in, whatever you are in, you have no idea if you have just one other person you need to outlast, or if there are still 9 other people in and you're going to be the first one to go. It's really wild. So the series highlights the physical and mental challenges of surviving alone in the wilderness and the strategies used by the contestants to overcome them. So it's been several months, maybe a year ago now, that I watched these 2 seasons, way before I was even thinking about doing this lesson on social connection. But I remembered it because something that really struck me strong. Go here for a second. It really did. Something that really struck me strong when I watched the series was what the contestants had to say about being alone. I mean, with all the things they had to do, they had to get their own food, pick it, kill it, fish for it, stab it, shoot it, whatever. They didn't have a gun, but I mean, whatever. They had to get it from the area they lived in. Water. How do you get fresh water? How do you make a fire? How do you do it when it's raining? How do you have cover? How do you have shelter? What about the winds? What about the snow? I mean, they are faced with so many things. But it was what they had to say about being alone and the impact that had on their mental space that really made me go, wow. It was really, really something. So I've pulled 3 clips from the show. Let's check them out. I'll chat about them. I'm going to do them like I'm going to show a clip, chat for 10 seconds or whatever, show a clip, chat, because what I'm trying to do is not have YouTube flag us for this material and then, block us and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes we break it up into clips like this. They're not long. We can do what we want to do. All right, let's take a look at this.
I think the real challenge is the psychology of being here alone. And if I can get 4 walls around me and a little fireplace, I know I can last longer.
So right off, this person's just talking about just, one of the things they're having to deal with is just being alone. Of course, they're trying to build a shelter, in this particular section, but it's that being alone. There's more. So let's do the next clip.
And quite honestly, I don't know if I can bring it back up. I don't know. I thought maybe it's because I can't start a fire in this mush and this moisture, but I think it might be something more than that. I don't know. Maybe it's just, missing home, missing my family. I don't have any interaction whatsoever except for me and this camera, and it's freaking me out. It's like I've never been alone like this. All right, well, let's shut this off for a little while.
So you can just tell it's just, the aloneness, the isolation is just really, really taking its toll. So let's check out the next one, and this will just kind of bring this to a conclusion. There's other clips, so many clips of so many other contestants, but I would have had to go through. I was really trying to find, throughout the series. I remember when so-and-so said it so well, and I couldn't find it, and then there were so many people that said this and things like this throughout. So it's definitely not just Brant. Most of the contestants at some point said something about the aloneness, the isolation. So let's see what this last one is.
It's hard, dude, it's hard. I've been in some hard places. I've been in combat. I work in some of the worst places in the world. I'll not spend another night in there. I was petrified. I couldn't stay out here tonight. I can't stay out here tonight. I don't think I can go any further.
You sure?
Yeah.
You're done?
Yeah. I'm tapping out. I'm done. I'm not a bushcrafter. I'm not a frontiersman. I believe in military survival. You do what you got to do to stay alive, and then you get off the X. Girls, I'm coming home. The isolation is a killer to me. Until you've really been by yourself, completely alone, in something this harsh, it completely broke my spirit. It broke my will.
All right. So there were a number of contestants that said something like that, along the way, the isolation, the aloneness, being left. There was a contestant. He may have even won, but he had said, "I'll tell you what, when you're doing this and you're alone like we are, and there's the isolation, you better have a good relationship with yourself, because it is a mental game to be that alone and not have another person at all in any way, shape, or form to share anything with." It's obviously, it's extreme. Now, just so you know, like, well, how did he get help? How did he tap out? They all had radios. There was a button on it that basically was a tap out button, and they could just say, and there was an emergency button too, just in case they had a medical emergency or something like that. But he just tapped it and he said, I'm done. So then they come from wherever, you know, the people on the show are, the rescuers and whatnot, they come and remove the person from the show. So wrapping this up, hopefully this first ever pass for me covering the importance of social connection can help us all make sure we're getting enough and the right types more often for us, what we need. It impacts our lifespan, our well-being. And in well-being is the state of being comfortable, healthy, and happy. That's the dictionary definition, the state of being comfortable, healthy, and happy. And it impacts our well-being. It impacts, of course it impacts it. And it impacts massively our overall emotional fitness. We aren't all wired the same. We don't need to be, but we all need some social connection. So it's important to put in some effort to get what you need to benefit in all the ways that social connection can benefit us. And of course, since you're primarily here and you're listening to me, your goal is to either maintain the fitness you now have or improve it. And as a part of fitness, of course, body composition, weight, muscle, fat, all of that body composition, that interaction is a part of fitness. So you're here to either maintain fitness or improve it. And there are so many ways that social connection can help us with emotional fitness, which helps us to be more consistent on the nutrition and exercise behaviors. And beyond the nutrition and exercise behaviors, emotional fitness is about mental health as well. And mental health is huge for living our lives, for being the best people that we can be, for serving people who we love and who love us and who depend on us. Social connection, it's an important factor that can help us to feel more authentically good more often and to be, again, better to those who rely on us, and to be better in those crucial in-the-moment decisions that keep us progressing toward our goals. We get those crucial in-the-moment decisions and we either go this way and we slip or regress, or we go this way and we continue to progress. And we can do that if we can find that space between the stimulus and the response. And we can find that space with improved emotional fitness by strengthening emotional fitness. And social connection is a huge part of emotional fitness. So that is it for this week's State of Fitness. As always, find me if you need help. If you're a member, hit me up on campus, send me a private message, find me some way if you're a member. If you're not a member of LL University, you're not a member of our program, just hit lluniversity.com, fill out the form, the contact us form, it'll get to me. Until next time, let's focus on what we want. Let's be grateful for what we already have. And remember, it's all happening perfectly. Good night. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.